I want to share a quick story around how I created my first $30,000 client, like how that actually came to be. And a lot of you have asked from like a marketing standpoint, like a strategic standpoint, like how did you find this client? What magical tree in the forest did you go to find them? And where can coaches like me and consultants like me go to find them too? And it wasn't anything like that. It was more about creating an alignment in myself. And so here's how I came to that realization. And it was also about me realizing how I was completely full of shit. And once I corrected that, that's what made this whole thing work much better. For me, started coaching in like 2010, and about the 4 or 5, 6 year mark, I started getting really jaded. At the time, I was a part of a group of coaches where my price point was dictated to me. So the highest package that we had was about $1,000 a month, and I couldn't go above that. I couldn't create a package outside of that. And I was terrified of leaving that group because I thought that's how I get my clients. That's how I get my leads. If I leave that group, then I'm screwed. Like I'm not going to be able to get business. So let me at least try to maybe grow my own business on the side, but that always failed. It didn't work. And attracting clients on my own was always really tough. And at the same time as this was happening, the more I got better at coaching and creating transformation for other people, the more joy and mastery of my craft I started to experience. Like I knew intellectually I was worth more than I was charging. The transformations and the changes my clients were going through and how their life started looking and feeling different started becoming apparent. But I still had this lingering doubt and fear because I wanted to raise my prices, but who was I to do that? Like what gave me the right? And imposter syndrome started showing up. But then also, like even if they did hire me, how would I fulfill the agreement? Like how would I actually justify that price? What if I don't deliver? What if they spend and invest all this money on me and then I drop the ball? Like what if I choke and then what? So I had all these fears and doubts. And my greatest passion was helping people unlock their confidence, like helping them tap into this deeper part of who they are and why they're here and what kind of specific difference they want to make, and helping them just burst through the uncomfortable threshold that was holding them back from being where they wanted to go, where they wanted to be. And so I helped all these people unlock their value and better own their value. I navigated a lot of people through leaving their job and starting their own business. And what's funny is as I'm navigating all these other people through this thing, my ego is telling me, yeah, like you're awesome. You're a great coach. So go out on your own, raise your prices. But yet I was too scared because while I'm helping all these other people do it, I wasn't able to do it for myself. There was just way too much fear. There was way too much doubt. And I realized that was what was keeping me at that price point. It wasn't finding the right people, getting in front of the right clients. It wasn't, the strategy around doing that. It was me not being congruent with my own message. It was me being full of shit, helping other people do it, but not being able to do it in my own life. Until finally, I was challenged to go do that. I'll never forget this. I had a call where one of my mentors asked me, he said, I want you to ask for more money in your life than you've ever asked for before. Like what would be an amount of money that would be absurd to you to ask for in a coaching relationship? And I just blurted out, I don't know, like $40,000. And he said, great, your next coaching call, when you're on that sales call, you're going to ask for $40,000. And I reluctantly said, okay. And I about shat my pants. Like, okay, this is not going to go well. Here we go. And that day, I was making coffee right before the call, and suddenly like a giant grasshopper showed up on the window. And this was weird because I'd never seen a grasshopper at my house before. For whatever reason, he showed up at that point, just hung out right there on the window, right where I was making coffee. And I started to feel this energy in me kind of shift as a result of that. And I show up on the call, and I'm nervous, I'm excited, I'm fired up. I'm leading him at the time through this process, and we get to the sales part and we get to the price. And I'm like, all right. And so you're probably wondering what it looks like to work with me. He's like, yeah, I love this. I want to keep going. Cool. All right. The price, the price with working with me would be the price would be $40,000. Like I said, like it was a question. $40,000? $40,000? That can't be right. No, I'm just joking. It's $4,000. But I said 40 grand. I'll never forget this. Like, I'll never forget the reaction that this guy gave me on the phone. I thought he was going to hang up. I thought he was going to laugh. Or I thought it would be like dead silent, and then he would like mutter to himself and just be like, I gotta go, and hang up on me. But none of those things happened. Instead, what he said was, I really want to work with you. I'm going to see if I can find a way to make this happen because I know you're worth every penny. And then we hung up, and I felt something in me change. I felt something in me shift. And I was freaked out. I was excited. I was in disbelief. And I went back to that coffee, and I went back to that window, and the grasshopper was still there, and he had stayed there throughout that entire call, which was like 2 hours long. And then as soon as I got to that window, he hopped off. And I looked up the spiritual significance of seeing a grasshopper in your life. And it was that you're making a significant leap forward. And I felt that on such a deep internal level that it didn't matter whether he hired me or not. What mattered was that I now had a different relationship with who I was and my own value. That's what mattered. Long story short, he didn't end up hiring me. He couldn't get the money together. But like I said, it didn't matter because from that point, like my capacity, my container for what I thought was possible had completely shattered. Like all notions of what's my value now were completely different. And that's what gave me the confidence to then go out entirely on my own, to leave that group and start my own business and become a full-time entrepreneur just for me. So it gave me the confidence and the certainty to raise my prices. And then clients started paying me $15,000, $20,000 regularly. And as soon as all that's happening, I was interviewed by one of my good friends on his podcast. And then I had someone listen to that interview and hear my story. And then when we got together about working together, he wanted to work with me for an entire year. And that's when we did 30,000. And it was like an immediate yes. And so that's how I created this. But it wasn't that I had the best strategy. It wasn't in my mind that I was like, all right, the way to get high paying clients is to go do podcast interviews. That was like 5% of it. It didn't matter where I went with my message. What mattered was that for the first time in my life, I was actually walking the talk. See, before that point, I was helping other people. I was coaching them. I was pointing out what they couldn't see, which is helpful. But as I'm doing that, there's also this undercurrent of, Byron, why aren't you doing that for yourself? And that's what was robbing my congruence and my alignment throughout all my marketing, throughout all my content. That's why I was shying away from sharing this thing in me that I knew I was capable of. Until I did what scared the hell out of me. What scared the hell out of me and excited me the most, that I knew was in alignment with who I really was. So if you're wondering how to attract higher paying clients, don't buy into the bullshit around the marketing strategy. That's like 10% of the equation. 90% of it is having a message. First of all, getting that message clear with exactly how you add value to your ideal clients. But then more importantly, embodying it. Like fully walking the talk. Fully full of shitting yourself. So that when you talk, it resonates. That's been the biggest epiphany for me. So if this resonates with you, let me know. Let me know what your relationship has been like with your price, your value. Are you owning your value? Are you questioning your value? And I'm happy to help you, happy to share any insights that I know would be helpful for you along the way. Cool. Until next time, take care.